Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another brand new Mattel Jurassic World Rebirth release. As you can see, we have one of the Micro Adventures sets. This is the Spinosaurus version, and it looks super cool, honestly. I've been really looking forward to these because I think they just so much so remind me of the old Trendmaster sets, and I'm a big fan of that kind of thing, so I've been very excited about checking these out. You can see we have the Spinosaurus down here as per usual. Jurassic World Rebirth logo on the side. Pretty much the same thing, just a little different on the other side. And then back here on the back, you can kind of see like a preview of the set on the back of the box. So let's go ahead, pop this open, and check it out. So here is the set, looking super cool. As we can see, the Spinosaurus head itself looks pretty awesome. Definitely a very cool, almost like a dinosaur bust of the Jurassic World Rebirth Spinosaurus. And also, as you can also see, we've got some other little accessories down here. We've got a little mini Mosasaurus, we've got a mini Spinosaurus, and a human being. So I'm pretty intrigued to see how all of these guys kind of go together on the set. But the first thing we're going to do is, I guess we'll readjust the camera actually, and then take a look at each of the individual little pieces. So for the Mosasaurus, you can see it is really quite small. Definitely even smaller than your average Mattel minifigure. It looks pretty cool. There's even a little variation of color, as we've got a green and then a black that kind of patterns through. Not a whole lot when it comes to impressive fine detail on something like this. Again, something so small, but you can see the head sculpt looks pretty cool. And again, we've got a nice curve to the tail as you lead out. You have a little variation of color actually on the tail, as you have like a black to finish the figure off, but then again some more of that patterning moving through. It looks really neat. Then we've also got the human being, who does look pretty fun. Kind of hard to tell exactly who it's meant to be, but you can see they are kind of like lunging up and over, I guess, some rocks potentially. We'll see once we get the set actually assembled. And then we have the Spinosaurus, and as you can see, the Spinosaurus is just kind of walking through. You do have a little extra variation of color with some yellow up there in the sail, but other than that, it's basically just a dark brown, and the mouth is open on the Spino, and you can again see exactly what it looks like from this side. The arms are kind of held up into the body. You've got that nice paddle-like tail and everything for the Spinosaurus. And then we have the actual Micro Adventures set itself, and as you can see, the Spinosaurus looks awesome. The detail is really impressive throughout. The skin texture looks great. The scale detail looks great, very vibrant. You've got a dark brown for the upper jaw, and then a light gray for the lower jaw, and as we can see, again, the skin texture looks absolutely fantastic the entire way through on the top of the head. You also have a reddish tone there that sort of like splatters around the eye. The eye is painted with a yellow, given a black pupil, and then we can obviously see the teeth of the Spinosaurus are all really nicely done, and they do have a bit of a genuine sharp look because they are that softer material where it allows them to kind of look sharp and everything, which is a huge plus for the figure. And obviously we can actually control the Spinosaurus from back here. Technically, if you use these two little kind of like handles out here, you can make it basically move its jaw and everything. But it looks really nice. Again, the sculpt, the paint, everything looks really well done for what this is. And then we can open it up to the inside. Again, when it comes to our micro play set, once we start up here, we can see we've got the sail of a Spinosaurus. We've also got another Spinosaurus down here swimming, and what's cool is if you look at these two Spinos and then the other one we had just taken a look at, that might potentially mean we've got all three different versions of the Spinosaurus from Jurassic World Rebirth in this set. We can also see that we've got obviously the water looking really cool. It's sculpted quite nicely. It's also given a bluish coloration, but it is a translucent blue, so it has a nice, fairly realistic look to it. As you continue to move through, you lead up here onto the shore. We can see some nice greenish tones and like light tans and stuff. We can also see some footprints here on that area. There's like some stones and stuff. You can see rocks here on the outer edge. There's also what appears to be like some pegs on the ground as you move through. You can see the vegetation sculpted out. We can even see some shells and everything up here on the shore, which is really, really cool. As you continue to move along, you move over here to the other side, and we can now see We've got some more vegetation and stuff over here. You can even see like a bone down here, which is really quite cool. Another footprint here, I guess, from the Spinosaurus moving over. You've got some more vegetation down here. Kind of looks like maybe like some ferns or something. And then same thing when we move over to the opposing side, kind of like ferns mixed in with rocks and stuff. And as you move further back, we go back into the water again. We again have the nice translucent blues for the water. And we've also got the head of a Mosasaurus down here. And we can see the eye is painted with a yellow. It does have a light gray, it looks like, for the lower jaw, and then a dark brown for the upper side of the Mosasaurus. But it looks pretty cool. So again, that's pretty much the entire set in a nutshell right there as far as everything goes. Now we just have to figure out the actual playability. One thing, you can see the jaw of the Mosasaurus is articulated, and once you lead into the mouth, you can see the teeth, the tongue as well, which is sculpted nicely and painted with a pinkish tone. It's going to be hard to really get in there to see if it does have the extra teeth. Yes, it absolutely does. It's kind of hard to see it from there, but it does have the extra row of teeth up there on the top. And then we can lift this up and kind of display this up. You can also articulate this area here, which is pretty cool. And then as we move over, you can make the Spinosaurus swim back and forth, which is pretty cool. And then we also can move the other Spinosaurus sail and kind of turn it and have it swim through as well, which is pretty cool. And as you can see, you can turn it completely to the side or have it go straight forward through. Again, definitely some fun playability as far as that goes. And then, of course, we have our little characters that we have down here that we can place on the actual Micro Adventures set itself. And there we go. You can now see, again, it looks pretty cool. This is assembled the way that it looks like on the back of the box. Now, what's interesting is the Mosasaurus does actually have a peg hole on the underside, and there is another peg right here, but I guess it wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense for a Mosasaurus to just be chilling up here on the ground. Trying to look to see if maybe there's some sort of a peg in the water areas, but I don't really see anything, so I'm guessing that there isn't. We can also see the human being over here, again, about to be devoured by the Mosasaurus, which looks like it'll end pretty badly for him. But I mean, I guess we'll just plaster our Mosasaurus here for right now. And there we go. Again, you can see how cool everything looks. Again, I like the fact that there is some playability with the mouth of the Mosasaurus, which can actually open pretty wide, which I don't know why I didn't just open it that wide in the first place to look inside the mouth. And again, you have the ability to articulate and move the spinos as they swim through. And what's cool is if you look there at that head of the Spinosaurus, you can kind of see the mouth. Wow, if my camera would focus for even a half of a second, we can see the inside of the mouth is painted for the Spinosaurus, and again, we only have the sail for the other one. But overall, that is super, super cool. Definitely a really fun kind of diorama with so much going on. And then we also can, of course, take everything back off and then close it all up, store everything, I would think, in here, potentially. I would hope it can all be stored in here. Pretty close. I'm sure I don't have them in the right spot, but you can see, again, it does kind of go all back in for the most part. As far as a size goes, for the Spinosaurus head itself, you're looking at about 5 3/4 inches or around 14.5 centimeters. And then for a height, just about 2 3/4 inches or around 7 centimeters. Now, I don't think there's really much of a need for any sort of comparisons, really. I guess we can do just the standard with Mr. Papo T-Rex. We've also got Robert Muldoon, the Collect Day human being, and then, of course, our Attack Pack Colovisaurus. And then we have to readjust the camera. But you can see the sets are really quite small, for sure, no doubt about that. Again, they are micro adventure sets, so it makes sense that they would be quite small. And then just in case you are interested in a comparison with the actual minis in the set, you can very clearly see next to a standard Mattel minifigure that there is a massive difference in size, showing again why these are technically called micro. And then one final comparison next to the largest Spinosaurus that is in the Jurassic World Rebirth line so far. Again, you can see the tail thrashing Spinosaurus, and roughly what the size of the Micro Adventures Spinosaurus head is next to that Spinosaurus, again, for for Jurassic World Rebirth. So these Micro Adventures playsets are super cool. This one is really fun, and I absolutely love this. Cannot wait to see more. I know there's also a Mosasaurus one coming out, but I don't know if that one's available quite yet. However, once it is, I will definitely be picking it up. But this one is really neat. The actual sculpt of the Spinosaurus is extremely well done. Very nice, highly detailed. It looks great. It also features some nice paintwork. And then, of course, once you open it up and you see the inside, it's like an entire other world inside the head of a Spinosaurus, as we've got all sorts of different dioramas taking place with the trifecta of Spinosaurus from Jurassic World Rebirth, as well as a Mosasaurus attack on the other side. Again, you've got some little micro figures on top of everything, and I think Mattel really did a great job on this as a whole. The entire, again, diorama aspect of it looks really good. Definitely a nice display and really fun. Even a little playability, again, with some articulated areas. And then, of course, the Spinosaurus head itself also looks awesome. So no matter whether you display it with the mouth open, and again displaying the entire diorama aspect, or the mouth closed, you've got yourself a really cool addition to your Jurassic World collection. So if you are interested in picking this up, I purchased this at my local Target, so make sure you head to your Target, see if it's in stock. If it's not now, it should be sometime soon. Grab it when you can, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.